It's showtime. Oh, sorry.
Right, just keep going, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget to cut that bit. Maybe we should keep it in just to show how professional we are. Okay. Hello and welcome to Musical Lyrical Lingo. We're your hosts, Tim
And LJ. Today and every week we will be talking musicals and specifically what they taught us. Ah, that was a laugh and a half.
Oh, so you are going to keep it in there? We don't tend to edit these very often. Actually, we've maybe edited one. That's about it. So, like, we are what you hear. To be fair, like, there's no tinkling. I think
people
goes on.
People know that by now.
They get it. Yeah, I think.
What's
so.
this episode?
We are the most unprofessional podcast out there.
I just love that. Like, we obviously come from a musical theatre background of learning lines and we can never remember the opening.
Oh no, I still am reading it every week. In fact, I have a panic attack when Lauren goes, right, okay, you ready to go? And I'm like, well, where's the script for the beginning? It's the only bit of the podcast that's scripted.
I can never remember it.
But you see, I got to the point where I couldn't remember lines.
Like, okay.
Like, I, as a young thing, like, learning lines was never a problem. Mm-hmm. Even revision, like in school,
you were very good at that.
Too bad because I learnt it like like lines, which is probably the worst thing I could have ever done. Because that's why, as an adult, I can't remember anything. Like, I don't know.
Okay, so you didn't
anything that I learnt in school because I learnt them as a line. So don't ask me about A-level geography now because I'd have a panic attack.
Well, that's like my story of my history A-level.
Yeah.
So I did really well at GCSE history, so then chose it for A-level and then got a E for AS.
Okay.
And then for A2, one of the exams was like all of 20th century history. I can't even remember. Maybe it was 21st century. No, it was probably 20th century history, right? And I remember writing like the first line of like, it was like, tell me, I don't know. I don't even know what the question is now, but I do remember writing, and I swear it was like some sort of animation where everything was coming out of my brain.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know anything. I think I got 6 out of like 45 whenever you look at the raw marks.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting a U.
Yeah. Oh dear. I remember my A-level music because I think there was like 3, you had to answer 3 questions, basically write 3 essays or something. One of the ones I had like learnt off. Do you know what I mean? Like you kind of write your own essay and then you learn it and then you just regurgitate it. Well, that's what I did. That's how I did it. Only I misread the question and regurgitated something that was completely unrelated to the question. So I only answered 2 questions out of the 3. Oh. Ridiculous.
But that is like one of my favourite stories of you ever.
What?
Do you remember doing our Key Stage 3s?
No.
Okay, so we were in year 10.
For goodness sake, I'm 36. How am I ever going to remember Key Stage 3s?
This is one of my favourite stories about you and I tell it all the time. I've got many favourite stories, but this is literally...
These podcasts are starting to fill me with anxiety. The number of times I've been thrown under a bus in the last couple of recordings.
No, this is a really good one.
Okay.
So we had to... It was an essay or a comprehension. And you had to like write about a passage. And it was the story, we're obviously all doing the same thing in the assembly hall in school. And at the end, you obviously, as you do, you talk about it. And how'd you find that? How'd you find that? And you turned around and said...
Oh, I do remember this. Actually, I tell my kids this in school. But...
And said, but I just wrote... I found it hard, but I just wrote that it ended on a real coat hanger.
Yeah. I thought that was my GCSE English. I'm kind of glad it was my Key Stage 3s. Yeah.
And I went, coat hanger? Do you mean cliffhanger? And it was the only time I ever felt smart around you because I knew that it was...
Well, I'm glad I could help you out there, Lord. Yeah, funny, I do tell that story.
Oh, that's okay.
My P7s, I'm like, and didn't it end on a brilliant coat hanger? And they're all like, what? And I was like, yeah, don't make my mistake. But I genuinely thought it was my GCSEs.
No, it was only year 10.
I feel a wee bit better that I was only year 10. Yeah. I didn't make that massive boo-boo and something really important like my GCSEs.
No.
Oh, it's hilarious. See, when people ask me about this podcast, I laugh and I go, oh, but we just talk crap for, for an hour or so. And literally we had spent the first 4.5 minutes just talking nonsense, which is completely unrelated to what we're recording. Anyway.
Oh, but sure.
We're back, guys. We're back. Sure, it doesn't matter. We've cracked Africa.
I know! How amazing.
I am truly delighted with our world domination of talking nonsense.
Like it is. It's every single, well, majority of them.
What do you mean the majority?
I like
what
that.
Not got?
No, but I mean, I'm not sure if there's anywhere in the
Arctic. But sure, is there anyone lives up there?
Maybe not, so that's okay.
Apart from the polar bears. And someone's going to come on and be like, polar bears don't actually live in the Arctic, they live in the Antarctic. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't care either.
Yeah. But all the ones that we wanted to conquer.
As long as they can tap dance, that's all I'm interested in.
Conquered.
Yeah, we conquered the
And we also have some really new followers on our socials. So hey to everybody.
Thanks for joining us and following us.
Yeah.
And clearly we're more interesting than I think we are.
Or maybe people are laughing at us.
That's okay, let them laugh.
Let them laugh. That's not the right words, but
Make them laugh. Make them laugh. Yeah, we haven't done that musical. We'll have to do that sometime.
We have a long list of musicals we have not done.
But we're on episode 12.
No, we're not, Timothy.
13?
14.
Oh my goodness, I've got my book completely wrong. No way. Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm quite good at counting. Episode 14, seriously. We've done 14 different shows.
Yeah. Or maybe this is 13.
Oh, for goodness sake, Lauren.
I think we're 13.
We must be more organised. Come on, record. 13, 14.
Same diff.
But I actually genuinely can't believe we're only coming to this particular music so far down the list.
I know. And whenever you think about it, we still haven't touched on loads and loads of musicals, but yes, this one surprises me that it's taken us this long to talk about.
Because I think it's quite important. No, to us, maybe not. Maybe.
Well, yeah, it's important to us in a way, but I think it's definitely in our top 10.
Yeah. Oh, it's my top 3 for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Very good. Shall we let them in on the secret? After talking nonsense for 7 minutes now.
Sure.
Go for it. What are we doing today?
This week, we are discussing the wonderful tip-tapping musical that is 42nd Street.
Absolutely, with the polar bears wearing the top shoes. In the Arctic, Antarctic, wherever they might live. Yeah, 42nd Street. I absolutely love this show.
Oh, it's so good.
Love it.
And do you think we love it because we are hiffers?
100%.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I think that's a bit of a dying breed. Mm-hmm. For anyone who doesn't know what hoofers is, it's tap dancers basically. Yeah. And I don't think there's not a huge number of stage schools now, or dance clubs that would do tap. Most dance colleges kind of tend to focus on the others, like the jazz, the contemporary, the modern.
Ballet.
The ballet is a big one, but there's few and far between that actually do tap. And to be honest, the stage school that we went to, that was probably the most important out of all the disciplines. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because Vivi was just such an incredible hoofer herself, and had a real love for tap that it was kind of instilled to us at an early age. Yeah. But I also think tap dancing, you have to start from an early age. I think it's really difficult to pick it up later in life, which is why lots of companies that I would have worked for wanted to do, would always, tap shows would be mentioned every so often. But I'm a bit funny in that I'll only do a tap show if I have tappers to do it. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it's very obvious to spot a bluffer. Do you know what I mean?
100%. But then maybe it's only obvious to tappers.
Yeah, I would say that probably is, but because I'm a tapper, I spot it, and it annoys. Not that it annoys me, but it just stands out.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to do a tap show and have your name associated to it, you're going to want to make sure that the tap is up to scratch,
and you want the tap to be awesome. Do you know what I mean?
It's that sound, isn't it?
Oh, I love it.
I could listen. Some people find Rain on like a window, really like therapeutic. I find tap dancing very therapeutic.
It's funny you mentioned the rain today. Like our summer is clearly over. It has pelted it down all day.
Horrible.
So if you hear a funny noise in the background, it might just be the rain again hitting against the windows, or honey tapping along.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So 42nd Street.
Yeah.
Do you have a wee bit of info?
I do. And actually, I learned a load by researching it.
Okay, yeah.
So there's the dog.
honey. Hi, honey.
So,
shouldn't have mentioned it.
I know.
Should have stayed quiet if I hadn't said it.
So 42nd Street is the 1980 stage musical. The book was by Michael Stewart and Mark Bramble. Lyrics were Al Dubin and Johnny Mercer, and the music was Harry Warren.
And to be honest with you, I've never heard any of those names before.
No. So, yeah, it surprised me that it was 1980. I did not realise it was that. Now, I know we're in 2023.
Yeah.
But to me, the 80s still only seem, like 20 years ago.
Oh, you thought it was older than it actually
Yes,
is? Okay.
I think it's because, it's set in 1933.
Yeah.
So I think that I thought the musical was maybe 40s, something like that.
A lot older, yeah. Okay.
So it went to Broadway in 1980. Won Best Musical and Best Choreography.
Of course.
Then it was in London in 1984 and won Best Musicals at the Olivier's. 2001, it was the Best Revival. 2007, there was a UK tour. 2012, there was a UK and a US tour. And then there was a 2017 revival. And now we have a 2023 revival.
Yeah, and this 2023, it looks really interesting to me because the choreography seems to have gone completely different, like a different direction. Yeah, completely.
And that's the one that's coming on tour.
Yeah.
That will be in our city, Belfast, in October.
We'll have to go and see it.
Definitely, 1000%. So it is based on the 1932 novel and the 1933 film, and it actually is the original jukebox musical.
What?
I know. So these guys wrote other songs for different musicals and different films, and then they pulled these songs together for 42nd Street.
Done a Gershwin like to do that with his musicals.
And then in the 2017 revival, they added a song called Boulevard of Broken Dreams, which Dubin and Warren wrote for Moulin Rouge.
Oh, wow.
I know, yeah.
Oh, that is I didn't know any of those facts.
Because originally whenever I read that, I was like, how are those people still alive? But then it was in 1980s. Yeah. So I obviously the timeline just completely sent me. Yeah. I couldn't understand that. So yeah, the story set in 1933, where their auditions are going on for a new show, which is called Pretty Lady. And basically it is the story of a small town girl who gets her big break. So it's about Peggy Sawyer and her big break. And we'll probably go into more of the story, but that's it.
For a performer or someone who is interested in, being in shows or doing shows, it's like the perfect musical, because that's basically it. It's about putting on a show, through the whole process from auditions right through to opening night, and all the dramas that are often there, characters like getting injured and understudies having to learn things last minute. Like, it's all happened. I know. In a lot of the productions that we've been involved in. So it is like literally a musical that it is about that kind of
It's all that backstage stuff, which is so exciting whenever you are involved. And yeah, I think that's probably why I was first drawn to it. Yeah. It's because I was like, oh, that's just like us, at the backstage, or getting really nervous before an audition.
And it's really weird because when you do it, it's like you're living 42nd Street whilst putting on 42nd Street as a show. It's a funny one, like, to be involved in, but it's just great. Like, I would do it time and time and time and time and time again. I don't think I would ever get sick and tired of being involved in that show. Yeah,
if a company said they were doing it tomorrow, I'd be there.
I know.
10 a.m.
I have. Get out your tap shoes, Lauren. Julian Marsh is doing a show.
Yeah, I'd be there. Yeah. Just to be in the chorus, as always. Just to be involved in it.
Well, that's what happened to me. Like, I hadn't performed for ages, and then it came around, and I was like, no, I'm too old, but I can't not do it. So I did it, but we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. Shall we get on to our musical lyrical lingos then?
Yeah. Do you want me to go first?
I don't mind, yeah. Do you want to?
Okay. So I actually did learn quite a lot, and then going back, I think I probably always had blinkers on or something. So a lot of the stuff I actually learned in the last couple of weeks. But anyway,
But we all know we made things up the first time round when we did these shows. Like, so.
Definitely. So I learned that Little Nifty, from 42nd Street, meant younger people who were involved in theatre.
Little Nifties from the 50s, innocent and sweet.
That's
it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, very good.
And then for Go Into Your Dance.
Oh, one of my favourites.
Yeah. The word melancholy. I can't say it.
Melancholy.
Thank you, which is pensive or sadness, but for no real reason.
Do you know that's one of my favourite adjectives?
Oh, really?
Melancholy, yeah. So, like, I tell my P7s every year that they'll get bonus points if they can manage to put melancholy into one of their creative writing pieces. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that and colossal. Colossal's
oh, yeah, that's
words.
A good word.
And they go for it every year. They're like, I got colossal into my writing today, or I used melancholy. I'm like, well done. I'm
brilliant.
So proud of you. Can you spell it?
And then getting to be a habit.
With you.
That is when I first learned that supply was like a habit or an addiction.
What line is that?
Oh, now that you've said that, I'll come back to it.
Okay.
Come back to it.
I put you on the spot there.
I know. And do you know what? I should have written down the actual line, but the word supply. Then.
And that's a song that Dorothy Brock, who is like the older actress, does with the young male.
Yes.
And she's very difficult, isn't she? Yeah.
Then it also taught me about American money. We're in the money.
Yeah.
It's a dime. And do you know how much a dime is?
Nope.
10 cents. So it goes penny, a nickel, a dime, then it goes your quarter, and then it goes your 50 cents.
They think it's a nickel first, don't they? Is
it a penny? Is it a nickel? Yeah.
Hold on till I get the dirt off.
It's a dime. Yeah.
Great. What a great opening to the number, though.
Yeah.
I love that bit with those four girls.
And then that word bread line.
There's nothing but a bread line or a bread line today. Yeah.
So that just meant poorest condition.
Okay.
Yeah. Then in Lullaby of Broadway, we have Angelo and Maxie's.
Yep.
Which was a steakhouse. Yes. A really, really popular steakhouse. No longer open.
Longer a thing?
No, but it's where a lot of people would have went in New York.
It's interesting you mention Angelo and Maxie's, and I'll just mention my one now because it fits in. So that same line, so it goes the rumble of the subway train, the rattle of the taxi, the daffodils that entertain at Angelo's and Maxie's. I never understood the daffodils, like who are the daffodils? Yeah. Who are the daffodils referring to? I did a bit of research for the podcast because I still didn't understand. I've gone through the show a couple of times and I still don't know who these daffodils are. Are they referring to the chorus girls or I don't know. So if anybody out there knows what the daffodils at Angelo's and Maxie's in 42nd Street refers to, let us know.
I think it's like Broadway singers going to Angelo and Maxie's to perform, off, out of work actors. Okay. I think that's what it refers to because it was where people would have went to be entertained or theatre people would have went after a show.
You see, have you gone to some of those kind of establishments when you were in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I didn't, so you've clearly got more.
Oh, that's just what I assume it is because it's in that line.
That makes sense, but I just didn't know who the daffodils who entertain at Angelo.
But if I am wrong, which I normally am, let us know. Cool. Do let us know. 8:45, that one. That was terrible, Lauren.
That was a wee bit not the tune.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Needles.
About 8:45.
Can read my own writing. Needles and pins.
Yes.
So, but that, instead of just needles and pins, I knew that you can get them in your legs, but it's a way of also saying somebody's nervous.
Yeah, that was one of mine. Mm-hmm. So the lyric is, I'll be waiting where the lane begins, waiting for him on needle and pins. Yeah. And then... I love that song. So yes, nervously waiting.
Yeah, so I didn't know that needles and pins could
Yeah.
It could mean that too.
Me too.
Then we have Shuffle Off to Buffalo. What a horrendous song.
Oh, but it's hilarious. Are you going to take mine?
No, I'll wait until you and then I'll say what I have.
Oh,
but
right, okay.
Shuffle Off to Buffalo. Never knew what I was singing.
Yeah.
And it is so rude.
Yeah. It's really rude.
Yeah, that's all mine. So.
It's so highly inappropriate.
It's terrible.
Because it's a show within... It's a musical number within the show.
Yes.
Where the producer, like, randomly, like, doubles up as, like, one of the actors in the show, which I never understood either, because it's Bert that is the man.
Oh, yeah.
Who is... Oh, no, he's a writer. He's one of the writers.
He's one of the... Yeah, no.
He's one of the writers. Because they were one of our dynamic duo as well, that I had mentioned.
No, you didn't mention them because they were supporting roles and we're not supporters.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he appears in Pretty Lady.
Yes, that's right. I never understood that bit. Right.
But it's about him and one of the chorus girls who is much younger, like basically getting married. Now, obviously, it's a sketch, isn't it? It's a comedy sketch, that number. Yeah. And about getting on the train, the train to Buffalo and all. Yeah. Well, my musical lyricals from that, one of the lines, as you say, it's very naughty. It says, "You go home and get your panties, I'll go home and get my scanties." Yeah. I didn't know that scanties was another word for women's skimpy knickers.
Neither did I. That was mine.
Yeah.
And you're just singing it.
Yes. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it is a wee bit dodgy, like.
Like, it's just pretty much talking about them going to have some sort of relations once they're married and then heading off to Reno. I knew that was a city in Nevada. Yeah. But yeah, it's a rude.
I didn't know that, yeah. And then alimony is in, the word alimony is in that, and I didn't know about that. So the line is, "She'll be wanting alimony in a year or so." Well done. That was in tune. Very good. And I didn't know that alimony was a legal obligation on a person to provide financial support to their spouse before or after marital separation or divorce. Yeah. But then I'm not married, so I didn't need to know what alimony was. Well,
there you go. Now you do.
Yeah. Although, I do love that number in the show, just because it is, like, so ridiculous. And then so it's on a train, so like they're all wee cabins.
The set's always cute.
And then the train splits. So like the back end and the front end of the train split, and it's very funny. And like they do, like most productions kind of do like him like running after the back of the train and like use strobe lighting and stuff, and it's quite funny. But I mean, completely.
It's really rude song, like a really rude song. Yeah. And I think as well, I probably didn't, because I thought that this was written in the 40s. Okay. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh my goodness, and then realised, actually, it is a wee bit more modern than what I realised.
Yeah. Funny. Were those all yours?
Yeah, they were all mine.
Your Shuffle Off to Buffalo was your last musical lyrical lingo. Yep. In 42nd Street, the line, "In the heart of little old New York, you'll find a thoroughfare." I didn't actually know what a thoroughfare was when I first came to it. So it's like a road or a path forming a route between places, a thoroughfare, which is a bit of a boring one, but I didn't know what it was.
Well, you learned it.
I also knew about the needle and pins.
Okay.
Here. So I didn't know what Daffodils was at Angelo and Maxie's. I also didn't know there's a song called Sunny Side to Every Situation, which opens Act 2. So at the end of Act 1, the lead breaks her leg, and basically that's it. Like the show's doomed. It's not going to happen. They can't do it. So then Act 2 opens with them all in their dressing rooms, like feeling sorry for themselves, kind of going, "Oh, well, we're all out of work now." But there's a line about, it says, "Hum your nose and pitch your tent. There's a sunny side to every..." I don't know what hum your nose means or pitch your tent means.
Well, hum your nose is to hold your nose, is it not?
Yeah, but why are they humming their nose?
Right, so in that song, are they not talking about are they not, the song where... whenever they get the work and they're all moving out, and the neighbours are going to feed the rats and stuff. Yeah. So is it the fact that they've got to go back to all those like horrible smells because they're out of work? I don't know.
Maybe. So that would explain hum your nose. What does pitch your tent mean?
Pitch your tent means like, I'm just going to set up home here.
Okay, you're just going to stick around anyway?
Yeah.
Even though we don't have a job anymore?
Again, these could all be wrong.
Or are they, like, pitching their tent? They're going to live in a tent because they're not going to have any money because they don't have any work?
Yeah, or they're just going to pitch their tent out anywhere just to get work.
It's the first musical we've done that there was lyrics that I was still
baffled.
I was like, what's going on? And then it was a good boy and did try and do some research and couldn't find the answers.
Google let you down?
Google let me down.
Well,
I mean, I should probably have asked.
No, well, pitch your tent, definitely. When people say, just pitch your tent, means you're just going to set up home.
Yes.
And that's you.
Okay, yeah.
You know.
Which would make sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. And then I was thinking, hum your nose, are they just going to continue with their, like, you know the way people do their...
Oh, right, they're practicing.
I didn't know if that was...
That could all be.
That was a hum your
I
nose.
like that wee song. I like the meaning behind it.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Of all the songs in that show, if I had to axe one, it would be Sunnyside Devil Situation.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
no, I like
just
that.
Like, ugh. And it's such a slow, boring start to an act, I think. Because it's very twee and slow and just a wee bit in a show that's so go, go, go.
Yeah.
And, like,
I like the meaning behind it.
Oh, yes, but like I'm not.
You're not for all that.
I'm too shallow for all that.
Any other musical lyrical lingos?
No, those were mine.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple that I knew or I learnt, and then two that had me baffled still. But yeah, I think you've maybe answered them for me.
Did the show teach you anything? Like anytime you've like any memories you have from the show? So has it taught you anything?
It just made me very delighted with the life choices I made.
Okay.
Because I originally, in school, talking to the career advisors who were woeful. Because any career advisor who you mention that you're maybe thinking about going into the arts or going into...
But what's your real job going to be?
Theatre, yeah, exactly, that's it. Or no help whatsoever. Because it's, I suppose, fair to them. Like, it's not an industry they maybe know very much about. But then, do they know much about, like, their teacher? Like, they know their industry. They don't know any others. So... I originally had kind of thought about it, and then I did go, like, it's quite hilarious. It's like an 18-year-old still at school had, like, lined up something ridiculous, like 8 auditions for 8 different stage schools in London to go to. I think I went to the first 2, and after the second one, I kind of went, what am I doing? This isn't the life for me.
Okay.
I can't cope with... where my next paycheck's coming from. How am I going to be able to afford my rent? Am I going to be able to have a rent? Am I going to be able to have somewhere that I can call a home? Like, it was just too much for me. The anxiety, like, took over, and I eventually went, you know what, this isn't actually for me. And then didn't go to the remaining 6 editions, because I was just like, no. It took me to be over there. Yeah. And then that environment to kind of go, oh, actually, no, this isn't the right choice for me. And 42nd Street, we've just talked about how the show wasn't going to happen. Yeah. And, like, all those people would have been out of work and just the hardness that... I mean, I don't think I've chosen a profession that's easy. I think really hard work what I do now. But at least there's a bit of security that wouldn't have been there if I had gone down the
a tough
musical theatre route.
Tough old route that, and hats off to every single person that does it.
100%. We've got quite a few friends now that are involved in it, and it just amazes me. Like,
I know we shattered those dreams of living together in London, didn't we?
One of our friends is currently in work, and she's just had a baby, so like she's like battling motherhood and like doing performing every day, and I'm like going, wow, she's like a superwoman. Yeah. Now I know that there's lots of mums that do that and lots of different careers, but no, not for me. I decided that was the right decision, and I have never regretted it. That's not once.
Isn't that it? You need to go through life with no regrets. Yeah. So you need to give everything a go. And just as long as you have no regrets.
I mean, every so often you go and see a show and you're like, the buzz that you must get to be in this industry. But it's not a regret. Like, I'm not going, I'm missing out on that because of the decisions I made. No.
No, and you still
definitely not.
Were involved in theatre for so long as well.
No, I didn't then cut theatre out of my life, or else we wouldn't be having this podcast.
No.
I'd be really boring. Such a boring person. Did it teach you anything life-wise?
Well, not maybe life-wise, but I was in a production whenever I was maybe in my late teens, early 20s. So I think I was in uni, maybe just finishing uni. And up until that point, all of my musical theatre career, not my just plain theatre career, all my musical theatre career had been either through a stage school or with people that knew, like the director knew me or the musical director knew me. So this was the first show that I had been involved in that nobody knew who I was.
Oh, okay.
So it taught me that a director or the production team are always looking at you no matter what. Because I remember at one of the dress rehearsals or technicals, I didn't put my hat on for one of the numbers, and I thought, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. And I was mentioned in the notes, and I don't think I ever was mentioned in notes before, or I would have just been pulled to the side and said, here, make sure you do that. Yeah. So it was like, oh, they actually are looking at me. You know, it was one of those, no matter if you're involved in a big, massive production.
I say that all the time, like with shows that I've been involved in where I've been on the production side rather than performing, like everybody on stage has such a part to play, and sometimes people do think, oh, I'm just in the background here, like dressing the scene, but you still need to be present, like, because you stand out like a sore thumb. So shame on you not coming on with your hat.
I know.
All the eyes will have been on you, the hatless person.
The hatless person. I think it was a wake up call for me. It was like, don't be so hard on yourself that nobody is paying attention. I just thought because I was in a bigger production company that people wouldn't have been paying me attention. I thought people were only ever paying me attention because we were in a smaller group.
Yeah, fair. No, everyone. I mean, if it's run correctly, everybody who's on stage should have an equal part to play. Yeah. So no, that's good that you felt valued as well.
Yeah, I think it was good. Yeah.
It also taught me just how good tap dancing is for you.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been fitter than when I was doing a 42nd Street.
No.
Like, you've got to be fit to do the show or you're snookered, like.
But that's the thing as well. Do you not think that you could do a lot of tap dance? Well, you are a runner and you would do stuff. I can't do a lot of exercise, but I could dance longer than I could run.
But it's an enjoyment thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
so maybe that's what it is.
You're enjoying a good old hoof.
Yeah.
That it's only when you stop you go, whoo, or the next day you go, oh my God, my body aches.
And I suppose it is that enjoyment.
You don't realise what you don't realise the exercise or the fitness that you're doing until you've finished it. Do you know what I mean? Because you're loving it at the time. And
I think, to go back to your point towards the beginning where you said that tap dancing is something you should do or start whenever you're younger, because those basic steps are every single step just enhanced.
Yeah.
And if you don't have those basics, to try and then pick it up.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to go into an Amdram production of 42nd Street, you are gonna be lost.
Yeah.
You're not gonna understand.
You'll just have that constant feeling of being behind everybody else. Like I often think, because I haven't tapped now for a good number of years, and it used to be I would have taught the tap in stage school, and I don't do that anymore, and I haven't done that for a lot of years, so I don't have any need to tap. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like every so often I go, oh, I actually really miss it. Like this year's end of term showcase that we've just done, the older group did a brilliant tap routine right at the very end of the show, which was just awesome, and I was like, I think this want to tap again.
Needs to be our plea to get our friend to hold an adult tap class.
Absolutely. Like I'm considering doing our friend's tap class in stage school, like if it works timetable and wise next year, because it's also one of those things that you don't lose it completely.
No.
But if you haven't done it for a long time, it's hard to like get back into the swing of things. It's getting your ankles and your feet to move in the same way again.
Yeah, that's it. But also I would do a little bit with the kids whenever they come home.
Nice.
You know, just to kind of, Mummy, I don't know how to do this, or Auntie Gillian taught this, and not that I am wonderful, but I can be like, no, I think you need to do that. But because I'm older, I need to actually warm up my ankles before.
It really kills, doesn't it?
I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, we never did stuff like that.
No,
we just went straight into it, which was probably terrible.
I've noticed that in general. Like, if I don't do a warm-up before a dance class now, like, I ache. Like, I completely ache. But if I warm up, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Whereas, as you say, you were just able to rock into the routines.
I know.
Oh, I hate getting old.
I know.
That's one of my memories, actually. Like, talking about fitness and stuff. The first time I did a 42nd Street, I was really young, like probably too young to be in it. Like, it made no sense whatsoever to have like a 10 or an 11-year-old like in 42nd Street. But it was just the way, you know, the grip or the amateur company we were in. Like, everybody was welcome and it didn't matter. But I remember feeling like at the end, so at the very beginning of the show, it starts with an audition. Listen, almost all of the numbers in 42nd Street are tap numbers.
Yeah.
But this big, massive tap audition, big opening number, like one of the best opening numbers of any musical, I think. Quite long and quite substantial and constant. And I just remember being a wee young, like 10, 11-year-old, I can't remember what age it was, but it was young. Like feeling like my wee heart was going to explode at the end of the number, you know, like it ends with da 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 ba da da dance,
and that part,
and you're like going, the heavy breathing, your heart like pumping out of your chest, going, oh my goodness, it's going to explode. Yeah,
that was always the same whenever because we did it in our Broadway number, or
section,
Hollywood, hooray for Hollywood. Broadway, hooray for Hollywood. And we did that sort of last bit, and you're like, oh, I can breathe. You did just
it never changes, because then fast forward to like only a couple of years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I ended up doing it again, and it was the first show I came back after having not performed for a long time, because I just went, oh, this opportunity's presented itself. I was asked if I would come in. I was like, oh, I'm too old. But you can't say no to 42nd Street.
No.
But I still had that same feeling at the end of the opening number where I'm like, okay, only this time my heart was pumping out of my chest. There was the heavy breathing, but I did think I'd probably faint. You know what I mean? But it's like adrenaline and like such intense hoofing for like a 5-minute number.
And I suppose it's a bit like the chorus line anxiety and anticipation from that show, where it's an audition scene. So you're also like, oh, am I going to get it? Am I going to get it? You know, so then at the end you're like, did I do enough?
Well, like I often think if you're involved in that opening 42nd Street number, you've got to give it all. Like, it's ridiculous because it's the beginning of the show, and you've got to have something left for the endless numbers that are to follow. Yeah. But you gotta just leave it all out there, or it's obvious. I think it's obvious if you don't give your full welly. Yeah, like it's really obvious. And I
think as well, if you don't do that, it kind of the show could go flat, because as we've said, it's a show within a show. So there needs to be that clear. You need to be able to know whenever this is the show is actually on and whenever it's behind the scenes. So you need people to be like, messing up and looking around, or trying their best, or people watching them and making notes. There needs to be more of a show of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And then when I did it again, most recently, I was playing the part of Andy, the choreographer.
Okay.
So in that opening audition, he has like three section, like, combinations, tap combos that he has to do on his own for then all the auditionees to copy. And I remember freaking out, going, oh my God, I can't, like, because every so often a wee like mistap comes out, or you know, a step that you don't quite
Yes.
get, you know, each beat isn't as clean and crisp and heard as well as it should be. And I was like, oh, I can't muck up. Like every beat needs to be heard here in these 3 solo bits that I have to do. I just remember the anxiety of that going, oh God, just make sure you get every beat out, Tim. Let's hope the ankles are nice and lucid and working tonight. I think I did all right. Like,
I'm sure you did fine.
I was a wee bit it's like stage rusty going into it. I was like, oh, I haven't done this for a very long time. Oh, my ankles don't move the same way they used to. And then you're surrounded by really young, good hitters, and I'm like, oh.
And you know what? I think that we're the worst judges. You know, whenever you are a tap dancer and you're looking at tap dancers, you're like, oh, that's terrible. And then you go to do it and you're like, oh gosh, it is a little bit harder than I remembered.
It's really difficult. Like, it is so... And then, I don't know about you, but then I kick myself if I miss like a beat or... Do you know what I mean? It's like, that wasn't good enough.
No.
Vivian would be so disappointed.
I think that's it, because you would just go, and move on. Do you know, like all those times where you had to like show, like, okay, right, do this move. And if you just got that, and move on, you're like, oh, I need to practice. Very, very few times did you get, yep, you got that.
That's it.
And that was what you strived for. She
was the best teacher in the world.
Oh, she was so good.
Like in her 80s, like her tap was just, she never missed a beat, let me tell you.
Never.
Unbelievable. Like, yeah, what a legend.
I know.
Great show. Do you have any memories of it?
It just being in it. Aaron says it was the most unattractive he's ever seen me. Whenever he said me dancing on a dime was one of the worst things he ever seen in his entire life.
No, that's harsh.
Well, I mean, he's only going to tell the truth, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's
a shame. Sorry for that, Lauren. Oh, wow. Okay. Dancing on a dime is what has wrecked my back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, just the dancing on the dime or wheeling it in?
I remember that same production. You see, maybe I should never have gone back on stage. So, there's anyone who doesn't know the show, there is a musical number within the show, within Pretty Lady, called We're in the Money, and we danced on dimes. So we had to tap on with holding the dime, and then bend forward and put the dime on the floor, and then stand on the dime and dance, and then at the end of the number, as part of the number, bend over, pick it up, and then get off stage with it. And I remember one night as I bent forward to pick the dime up.
Oh, your back went?
Yeah, completely.
Oh, gosh.
And I've never experienced, and I didn't know what it was at the time. Like, I didn't go, oh gosh, my back's gone, because I had never, ever had issues with my back. But I had like this, a weird pinging kind of sensation. But then, like, almost like someone had lit a fire up your back, like that burning sensation, and then it almost winded me, like I couldn't breathe. I was like, so that was my back going out, and that was only, I think it was like a Thursday of a full week run, so I still had a Friday and two on the Saturday, but I'll never forget it going, oh my goodness, what has happened? Like, I thought it was an organ malfunction in my body, do you know what I mean? I was like, has something happened to like one of my organs? Like, what is this feeling? But it was my back, and I knew the next day it was my back, because I was proper agony, and ibuprofen became my best friend for the rest of that week. So yeah, I remember the dimes well too.
Yeah,
but
that
attractive for me either.
That dancing on a dime also was really nerve-wracking, like not falling off that dime.
Yeah.
Every time I've done it, it's been, oh yes, I'm so pleased that I've been chosen to dance on the dime. But it's sweaty hands time, because I'm like, if you fall off that dime, it is not, okay, first of all, you're obviously not pretty dancing on the dime. But if you fall off that dime,
it's really not pretty.
No. Like, and I'm clumsy as it is. So I constantly had, like, rehearsals was a lot of. And then, you know, you're trying, I would be very good, because we were taught that a lot about keeping your steps minimal and not traveling too much. That drives me mental when people are doing big time steps and they're halfway up the stage and like, don't need to move.
Draw a wee box around your feet. You shouldn't have to go out of that unless.
But dancing on the dime, you feel like you were taken that to the extreme. You probably were just
also in that
kicking
if you
your feet.
went too far, you were going to fall off a dime, or you were going to go over on your ankle. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I can see the nerve-wracking moments there. However, so we did different
productions.
As adults, we did different productions, didn't we? Because I think the one that you were talking about, I was supposed to do, and then I don't know, something came up that I wasn't able to do it, because I also remember at the time being really envious, because there was you and a few of the stage girly girls that did it, wasn't there? And I was like, oh, I'm raging, I'm not doing it with them. But then the one I did, which was a good number of years after you did, talk about scary. We had a big, massive, giant staircase.
That's right. You had that beautiful staircase.
For the big finale number.
And that was the you only got that like the day of the show, isn't that right?
Because oh my goodness, that show was mental in that. For amateur companies in Belfast, and if they go into the Premier Theatre here, which is such a privilege to get that opportunity, you know, to perform in a Premier Theatre. The way it works, literally the hard set will arrive on the Sunday, then all through the Sunday they'll have to get the set in, they'll try and put in sound and lighting. Lighting's never programmed by the end of the Sunday. It's literally, we've been able to hang the lights. And then you'll get they call it a tech rehearsal, but really there's only very limited. It's getting used to the space and used to the set if you're lucky. With that production, one of the numbers had a ceiling mirror. So the mirror flew in and then tilted, so that the girls did like a Busby Berkeley kind of, cinematic, like in circles, and you could then see it. However, the mirror got caught on one of the bars and I think bent the bar, which meant as a get in, it halted until they could get this mirror sorted. And we didn't really know what was going on because we were upstairs at the band call in a separate studio. But then we just very quickly learnt that we weren't going to have a tech rehearsal that night, and we weren't able to actually, I don't think we got on stage at all that Sunday night, which then meant on the following night, which was the Monday, is normally a dress rehearsal. So we kind of had a dress rehearsal, and even at that, I think there were bits that technically weren't in place. So literally our first night was the first night with, yes, we didn't get the staircase that Monday night. It just didn't happen. So the first time we were doing our final tap number on these big, massive staircases, which were also so cleverly designed in that the different steps of the staircase were all tucked in underneath. And we had to pull the steps out, so they went out, boom, 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 boom.
Very clever.
But we hadn't done that, so we didn't know if it was going to happen. And I remember, most of that show, you went from one number into a manic quick change backstage. There was no, what's the word, privacy, put it that way. Literally, clothes and knickers were flying everywhere. We saw everything of everyone, too much.
Yep.
So we were doing quick change, but then going, is it going to work? Is it going to work? And the staircase was only pulled out moments before we were supposed to appear at the top of the stairs and tap our way down the stairs. So I just remember that going, is this going to happen? And it did happen, but it only happened for the first time.
That first night?
On the opening night.
Oh my goodness.
So
no, I remember that story, that did you hear that the staircase?
Yeah.
I think we came to see it on the Friday or the Saturday or something. And it was one of those, they only got that stage, They got those steps in the first night.
But really, really scary. Really scary.
But visually it was stunning.
Oh, it was amazing.
It was so
good. It was an amazing
good.
finale to that show.
It was a really good production.
Yeah, and I think because the set was so very close to the professional sets, do you know what I mean? So, because I remember our friend Gillian and I, we went to London a couple of years later for my 30th birthday, and we went to see 42nd Street, the Royal Theatre Drury Lane, and they had the staircase, and it was pretty much carbon copy of the
what you'd done
to what you're allowed. But yeah, I just remember scary bickies tap dancing on the staircase. And a few people took a wee small video of it from the side, from the wings, and that's the only time we ever saw what it looked like.
saw what it looked like,
and
okay.
But it does look really
Yeah,
cool.
no, it did.
Amazing. But it was scary because we tapped up and down the steps as well. And we had to tap, I remember there was wee steps up the side, up onto the top step, and then we had to tap our way down to start with and it was mental. It was totally mental.
But so much
and
fun.
Obviously, you could only ever rehearse that on the flat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So you're never really going to get to do that properly.
Saying that the first time we ever teched that was opening night, mental.
Crazy, but you did it, and you did it well.
You wouldn't get that in professional theatre. You'd have at least 4 weeks of rehearsals.
I know. See?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else, or?
I think that's a lot.
I know. What about standing ovations?
Oh, here. No, it is the only one time in the history, I hope nobody proves me wrong, of musical theatre that I missed my cue.
Oh.
Uh-huh. When I say missed my cue, didn't come on stage. Yeah.
What were you doing?
So, as I said, I was playing Andy the choreographer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was Andy the choreographer, but then also I was thrown into all of the musical numbers anyway, because I was a male who could tap. And there's not a huge number of us out there. So that was fine. It was just a mental show from start to finish, because you finished one number, you went off, had to get a really quick costume change to come on and do another number, then go off. But for me, in between, every so often, there was a wee scene, as Andy the choreographer. And I just got lost in, oh God, I have to get off and get changed from this into this, and it's really quick. And just completely lost myself and forgot that there was a scene in between. So I'm really sorry to the fellow actors. It's the only time in
years,
decades of shows that I've been involved in that I ever did that. But it's awful. There's nothing worse than expecting to see someone appear on stage
and then having to do their line and try and fit it into your...
Unbelievable. Now, Andy the choreographer is a pivotal, part of the storyline. Do you know what I mean? So,
you weren't Julian Marsh, announcing
exactly.
Pretty Lady.
They got by fine, but I was like,
I forgot to go on.
I did that. Literally, I was like, that's a disgrace. How could you do that? So yeah, it's the only time I've ever missed a cue. And I wasn't even laid on with it. I just didn't appear. Because I was mid.
Well, that probably would have been worse. Do you know what I mean? Coming on to then.
I just couldn't, because it would have involved me stripping off what I had started to put on me to get back into another outfit.
Coming in all dishevelled.
It's never going to happen. Exactly. And I almost think it's better that I didn't come on at all than coming on half dressed.
Yeah.
In bottom half one costume and top half another costume. None of which dressed neatly. Do you know what I mean? I said no. I heard them on stage and went,
that's meant to be me.
And I was like, well, let's hope they can get themselves out of it, because I'm not going to...
Thinking on your feet.
Yeah.
Thinking on your feet.
Oh, but what a fabulous show to be involved in.
Oh, it's great. It really is, yeah.
I think I'm probably too old to be... And that's the thing, if you were to be in it, I would only ever want to be, an ensemble member. That the most fun, literally.
And you're in quite a lot. It's definitely a good show for ensemble. There's plenty of shows out there where you're maybe only in one or two things.
Yeah.
And it can be very long and very boring. But you do, whether you're, stretching in the background or in maybe one of the train carts or whatever.
Well, it's just number after number after number. And there's very few, solo numbers or duets. They're mostly all big ensemble numbers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which is just, fronted by a principal. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
That's all good. Any standing ovations?
The open and finale number.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tapping sublimeness. That's not a word, but literally.
Yeah, the tap-ins definitely.
If done properly, that opening number and that finale is wowzer.
Pure entertainment.
Yeah. I also love Lullaby of Broadway. I think it's an under-acknowledged number in that show. I think as an ensemble, it's really brilliant.
I think just the way he grabs her attention. Allentown, and then...
Yeah, so...
Peggy has gone off to the train station.
Brock breaks her leg. Peggy Sawyer is then a wee chorus kid who's lucky to even squeeze into the show in the first place, isn't she? It's only that she bumps into the four of the girls.
Yep.
And Andy, the choreographer, that she ends up in the show, but then she is pulled from the chorus line to take over. She then loses it. She can't cope and she runs away. And he goes to the train station, and it just starts with Julia Marsh, the director, and her. But as the number goes on, it just builds and builds. More and more characters arrive, and then the ensemble arrive, and then they all together do this big sweeping chorus together. And at the end, she's like, "I'll do it," and it's like, it's like perfect recipe for a big musical theatre number, isn't it?
It's fab. It's fab.
So brilliant.
I know, I love that.
Oh, we have to go and see that too.
Definitely.
So
definitely. Some really fab people in it as well. But I have this a standing ovation for the tap, but also I love Dorothy Brock. I love that character.
Oh, okay. You'd make a good Dorothy Brock,
Thanks.
actually.
She's about 40.
No, but when you're older, I think you get... Because she's a sarky owl.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's such...
I know.
That,
you just
I didn't mean
insulted
to
me.
insult you.
No,
but
I know what
you could play sarky, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you are sarky.
But no...
But you could play it well.
Because I think she has a great character arc. Mm-hmm. She comes on and I'm not auditioning, and obviously she's with the guy that's investing all the money, but really she wants to be with Pat. And and then she really, she's... I wanted to rip your head off or something, about Peggy Sawyer. And then she encourages her to, take her moment on stage. And
she mentors her in a way.
Yeah, I quite like it. So I would give her a standing ovation.
Yeah, no, that's a nice one, actually. And anyone who gets the chance to play Peggy Sawyer, good luck to you.
It's a tough role.
Oh my goodness, you have to be a tough cookie to do that, to hoof and sing your way through that show.
And again, to have that, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can audition because she's been waiting outside for so long, so she misses the audition, and then oh my goodness, she finishes the show with confidence and it's
stunning.
great.
Oh my goodness, it is a stunning show.
Right, that's it. It's a date. We're going to see it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would never turn down an opportunity to go and see it. I think I'm too old now to do it again, but that's a shame.
Well, maybe not. We'll see if we can get you.
I think after the last time, thinking I was nearly going to faint and putting my back out, I'll not revisit that show. I don't think. I can't give myself any more lifelong injuries from the one musical. Anyway.
Oh, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Should we come back next week?
Let's come back next week. Bit different next week.
I know. I love these wee bit different ones.
We're kind of going themey.
Yeah.
And we'll maybe pick a couple of musicals that link to the theme.
Yeah. So we'll do that.
So we'll get our big round ears out for next week.
Round ears?
And that's what he has. He's got big round ears.
For one of them?
Oh no, none of the characters. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
As a company, or the kind of it's like a.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sometimes we are not on the same wavelength at all.
I mean, fair in that what I've said, he doesn't actually appear in any of the musicals.
No,
but
I just wasn't sure.
As a logo for the organisation we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
That was really rubbish. We're doing Disney next week, folks. There we go. Secrets out. Flip's sake.
We're getting worse at these.
Yeah. Disney, Mickey Mouse, big ears, okay? Bye!
Hopefully you'll join us next week.
Let's see if LJ edits this out.
We'll see you next week. Bye.